Hello mga ka-Barbie! Welcome back to my YouTube channel. Ito na naman si Ingrid, ang Barbie ng Bayan. Alright, so for today's vlog, ang gagawin ko po ay i-share ko sa inyo kung paano or ano ang mga tips kung paano pumasa sa isang BPO industry interview o tinatawag natin na call center company. So kung gusto nyo malaman, don't forget to like, watch, comment, and of course, subscribe our YouTube channel, Barbie Song TV. And don't forget to hit the notification bell para ma-update kayo sa mga susunod kong mga vlog o sa mga informasyong isi-share ko sa susunod kong mga videos. Kung gusto niyo malaman ang mga tips na ito, just keep on watching. Tip number 1, prepare yourself. Number 1, of course, kung pupunta kayo sa isang interview, dapat niyong ihanda ang inyong sarili o sinasabi nilang prepare yourself. So, dapat niyong ihanda ang inyong sarili, of course, in a way that walang bumabagabag sa inyong mga isipan or gumugulo sa inyong mga isipan habang kayo ay papunta sa inyong ina-applyang trabaho. So sa call center kasi, there are things that you really need to focus. So kung nagpo-focus tayo sa ating sarili, of course, when we prepare ourselves, we have like this straight focus. So hindi tayo madidistract ng kahit ano-ano kasi we are prepared. At the same time, kung tayo ay prepared, mga ka-Barbie, makakagain tayo ng confidence. So basically, confidence is the key to success and also the key for us to pass interviews. So dapat mga ka-Barbie, you have to prepare yourself. Keep in mind that this is something that you have to gain in order for you to gain or to have a better future. Kasi sa call center, maraming mga opportunity. As long as you feel confident, at the same time you can speak, then there is no problem on it. So that's why you have to prepare yourself because, alam niyo naman kung ano ang call center, ang isang call center, at the same time, alam niyo naman kung gaano siya ka-toxic, at the same time, gaano siya kahirap. Pero, in return, it's very tiring but it's rewarding. So, ayan, so dapat i-focus lang, focus yourself, prepare yourself. So, yan ang ating tip number 1. Don't wanna be late? Tip number 2, be on time. Tip number 2, so in connection sa ating first tip na prepare yourself, of course, as an applicant, kailangan mong maging on time. So, kailangan mong maging on time kasi first, makaka-prepare ka kung ano man yung mga bagay na dapat mong i-prepare within the premises sa interview section. At the same time, makakapag-isip ka, makaka-focus ka din sa mga bagay na kailangan mong gawin. At the third one, makakuha ka pa ng strategy mga ka-Barbie. Why? Kasi kung andun ka on time, marami kayo andun ng mga aplikante. And at the same time, whenever you see what they are doing, especially kung tenure or may experience na sila sa call center, you can see what are the things that they do inside the interview section. Why is it's very important? Because you can adapt. At the same time, you know how to react, you know how to deal things inside the interview section. So yun mga ka-Barbie, dapat you should be on time. And in contrary with that, ang negative side, kung hindi ka on time, whenever you get late, of course, kung ang nag-e-interview sa inyo, mafe-feel niya na you're not capable of the work because even in the interview time, you weren't able to follow the rules of being on time. So basically, you should be on time. Kasi doon nafe-feel ng company na you are perfect or suit or fit to that job. Because, you know, sa call center kasi, this is like a business related company. So whenever you got the business, you should be on time. Time is gold. So basically, time is money. Whenever you waste even a single second sa call center, that's gonna be a waste of money from those owners of the company. So that's why dapat we should be on time mga ka-Barbie kasi for them to feel that we are eager and we are eager or willing to get the job. So yun lang ang aking tip number 2. Tip number 3, how to act in the interview premises. So ayan na, we are now down to tip number 3. So ayan, so of course, kasi nag-prepare yourself ka na, at the same time you're always on time. So right now we're gonna down to the interview proper. So dapat sa interview proper kasi uupo ka lang dun sa may parang lounge kasi most of the time they're gonna call your name whenever it's your turn. So pag uupo ka, of course, you should have to observe the people around you. So whenever you see them that they're acting like that, you should be professional. You should act professionally inside the interview section. Why? Because that is one way that they can definitely like observe na, oh, yung taong to ay professional. So she can act professionally within the company. So that's gonna be another plus because may mga interviewer din na tinitingnan nila kung paano ka mag-act. Kasi sa call center, you should act professionally. So whenever you're not doing very well inside the interview premises, maybe they're not gonna let you pass for any interviews sa panahon yun. So that is why you should act professionally. At the same time, whenever they call your name, kung tatawagin na yung pangalan mo, mga ka-Barbie, dapat you have to stand straight. You should act professionally, walk professionally within the premises because the interviewer was just like giving the impression, you were giving them the impression of telling them that you can do the job. So basically, you should act professionally within the interview premises. And at the same time, whenever they call your name, please answer immediately. Do not wait until they gonna ask you the second time. Why? Kasi dito nila ititest ang act kung paano ka how you practice active listening. Kasi sa company at sa call center, one of the things or one of the key that you can be like a successful call center employee is to listen actively. So that's why whenever they call your name, dapat dapat active ka. Dapat ipakita mo sa kanila that you're eager and willing to get the job and you are qualified to get that. So ayan, so mga ka-Barbie, yun lang ang aking sa ating tip number 3. So ayan, so dapat nating isipin na ang call center ay isang professional na environment. Do you know how to introduce yourself? Tip number 4, how to answer. Tell me something about yourself. Alright, so tip number 4. So ayan, so in connection sa ating tip number 3 na of course pupunta ka na dun sa interview section or yung locations kung saan ka i-interview ng interviewer. So of course, first question na i-ask nila, tell me something about yourself. Ayan. So of course, you're gonna say, my name is like that. So ito ang tip na gusto kong i-share sa inyong mga ka-Barbie. Kasi na-share din ito sa akin when I was just a newbie. So nung newbie pa ako, so basically hindi ko alam kung paano ako magsa-start kung saan itatanong sa akin ang tell me something about yourself. So actually, here's the 2 things. Una, kung wala kang binigay na papel or any biodata, resume, kung hindi ka nagbigay sa interviewer, you can tell them who you are. For example, your name, your age, your address, um, about yourself, everything about yourself, even your educational attainment and whatever. However, on the second half, if you already have the resume provided to the interviewer, there's no need for you to say my name is Varvy ng Vayan. Charot. And I'm living in Varvy ng Vayan ng Varvy. So you will not gonna say that, mga ka-Barbie. So hindi mo na yan sasabihin because kung kasi ang mga interviewer, they're very observant when it comes to that. Because bakit mo sasabihin yan sa akin? Alam ko naman yan. Binigay mo nga sa akin ng papel, di ba? I have the paper here. So I know, don't you think that I don't even know how to read? Akala mo hindi ako marunong magbasa because you're telling me this kahit nasa papel, nasa akin ng papel mo. So that is something that I would like to share with you na kung may papel ka na, ito ang sasabihin mo. Hello everyone, good morning, or let's say good evening or good afternoon. Good afternoon, good evening. So actually, I'm here in front of you to apply for this position because I am eager to get it. I am flexible and I can work waiver shift. I'm flexible in work shift schedules, and at the same time, I can be a good asset in the company. It is because, and then of course, you have to provide all of your achievements. Why? Because whenever they heard, kung malalaman nila kung ano yung mga achievements mo sa buhay, of course, they can recommend you. And of course, it will let you pass the first interview or the interview itself. Kasi, you know, at the same time, you're giving them the impression, binibigyan mo sila ng impression na, I can do this and I can do that because I was able to get this before. Nakuha ko to before. Ito ang mga achievements ko before. Kinuha ko to, kinuha ko to, kinuha ko to. Because, what I mean, nakuha ko to, nakuha ko to, nakuha ko to. Kasi, you have the ability. So that's why you have to prove them what are your achievements, what are your skills, what are the things that you can do in the company. Instead of you telling them, I am something like this, I am something like that, and everything. Okay? So, yun kung meron ka ng papel or resume na ibinigay sa interviewer. So, ayan mga ka-Barbie. So, dapat yun ang mga tips na kailangan nating tandaan sa interview proper. Tip number 5, how to answer logical questions. Tip number 5. So, how to answer logical questions. So, ayan, sa mga ka-Barbie, kung sinasabi nilang mahirap talaga magsagot ng mga logical or mga logical questions, oo. Oo ako dyan, approve ako dyan kasi I've been to that. So, actually, yeah, I experienced din na mag-answer ng mga different questions, mga ka-Barbie, especially when it comes to logical questions. It's so hard. But, on the other hand, hindi pala. And that's what I found out. Why? Because if you tend not to focus, yung sinabi kanina, if you're not focused and you're not confident on how you answer the question, hindi mo makukuha yung answer ng mga logical questions niya. So, for example, this is the question given to me when I was applying as a customer service representative sa kumpanya na aking pinagtatrabahuan noon. Can you tell me, or how could you describe green color to a blind person? So it's different thing, a blind person and of course the green color. So how could I do this? Paano makikita ng isang bulag ang isang birding kulay? Well, it's so hard, di ba, mga ka-Barbie? Very, very difficult to answer. But instead, this is what I did. Find it out. I'm actually, yeah, if I am a blind person, I would say that, green color is like a peaceful community. where people live peacefully, no war and violence, and at the same time, love with the family as well as care with the members of it is uplifted. At the same time, the community help each other to grow and to have a successful society. Instead of you being so literal, parang literal ka talaga na color green. Or sasabihin mo lang, hindi niya nakikita yun kasi color green yun. At tsaka ano siya, what I mean, at tsaka bulag siya.
Oh no!
Where in fact, that's not it. You should think out of the box. Ayun ang sinasabi talaga nila. Think out of the box. Think out of what you're thinking literally. Kasi when you think literally, parang specific ka, ganun, ganun, ganun. Where in fact, parang hindi na siya realistic. Where in fact, if you're gonna turn it to more, more flowery, more descriptive kind of explanation, so, yun, tutumpak at tutumpak. So that's why, because on that logical question, one of the criteria that you are being tested by the interviewer is communication skills. So dun tayo sa communication skills. So since we're talking about logical questions, it is connected with communication skills. Of course, whenever you have this wide range, or if you have like a very wide interpretation of words and how you interpret words, it comes out from your mouth. And when it comes out from your mouth, it literally makes a meaning. So that's why, mga ka-Barbie, when you answer logical questions, do not answer it literally. Answer it by the heart, and at the same time, answer it with something that is very descriptive, at the same time, very colorful, like nung sinabi ko kanina. So see, so kung ako ang blind person, and I describe that, okay, so ganyan pala ang green color. So that's why it doesn't even, I didn't even mean, mga ka-Barbie ha, na yun talaga yung answer. What I'm trying to say is that pinapahiwatig mo, ini-explain mo sa bulag na tao na yun talaga ang color green. So the blind person may think, ganyan pala siya. So that is something that you have to feel. That's why you have to put some emotions on it. Okay? When logical question kicks in, whenever you're asked about that, you have to provide the emotion itself. So it's just something that logical versus emotion. So yun lang, mga ka-Barbie, ang aking tip whenever you answer logical question. Tip number 6, minimize unnecessary connectors. So we're now down to tip number 6. So ayan, so of course our tip number 6 is minimize saying so we have to minimize that. I'm not saying that we have to avoid that, but at least minimize it in our statement. Why? It is because there is something that the interviewer would think, na iniisip ng interviewer na, parang hina siya ng vocabulary, or hina siya on how to explain things like this. Why? It is because you have that, that negative connections, mga negative connectors, like mga ganun-ganun. So that's why we have to avoid that, so that you may able to, because here and in call center, especially that we are talking foreigners, or most of the time Americans, we should be like them, not literally or not fully that you be like them, like you have to adopt whatever they speaking, but it's just so like you have to let them feel that you know how to speak the language. Why? It is because, and as experience, mga ka-Barbie, when I was taking calls, when I was just started, of course I got a lot of something like that. So it's something like they heard you're not expert of what you're doing. At the same time, they're gonna call you So, they're gonna call you robot, mga ka-Barbie. Kasi, feel nila na, bakit representative to ng isang company? At bakit siya nag-work dito na hindi niya alam? Kahit hindi niya alam yung product, at the same time, hindi siya marunong magsalita. So, that's why, sometimes, kahit ako mga ka-Barbie, when I get started, sinabihan ako ka-Barbie ng mga foreigners na I don't wanna talk to a monster. I don't wanna talk to a monkey speaker like you. So see, masakit man siyang isipin pero kaya nating tanggapin kasi hindi naman, you know what, here in the Philippines, hindi naman first language natin ang English. At the same time, we acquired it every day, right? As soon as you learn it every day, you may able to acquire it and you can speak it. It's just that, of course, that's not our mother tongue or even our national language. That's why there are some foreigners that they may accept accept it, or they may understand because that's not our first language. That's why in order for us to feel expert and at the same time we will able to answer the questions very fluent or fluently, then we have to minimize, not to avoid it because nobody's perfect, and at the same time we have to minimize it kasi kung palagi na lang ganun ka na, parang there's something na parang, you know what, hindi naman natin ikakaligtap ang interviewer. It's sabi parang bobo-bobo naman, parang walang mga dala, di ba? Yun ang sinasabi ng mga interviewer, parang hindi siya ready, parang dapat ready siya kasi alam naman niya interview niya ngayon, tapos ganun, di ba? Ang daming satsat ng interviewer na yun. So ayan, so dapat ikaw na aplikante, you should tell them that kaya ko, kung kaya niyo dyan, kaya ko rin yan kung nandyan lang ako, parang ganun. Because at the end of the day, learning is everywhere, learning is every time, so or anytime. So that's why as soon as you still have the time, learn it, because at the end of the day, you know, it will, you know, whenever it kicks back to you sa pool, mas magandang trabaho ang may meron ka. At the same time, that's my experience, ha. Yeah, I understand na hindi lahat ng tao parehas ng experience. Disclaimer lang po. Pero as what I experienced, because before, of course, I started also, pero I minimize it now because I learned things all the way throughout. So ayan, yun lang ang aking tip number 6.
Tip number 7. What are the tools to help you pass interviews?
Number 7. So ayan. So for our tip number 7, I'm gonna introduce you what are the tools, equipments that we're gonna use in order for us to pass call center interviews. So first, of course, we have to read a lot of books, especially English books. That's what I did before when I just get started because, you know, I'm a reader actually when I was in high school and college. So, I'm a reader na, nagbabasa na ako ng mga iba't ibang libro, novels, before I get started kasi major in English ako sa isang universidad. That's why we used to speak, you know, speak English talaga. So, ayun, I trained myself to speak the language when I just get started. You know, I used to read books, a lot of books, novels, and dictionaries before. So that's why yun, na-learn ko siya, na-acquire ko siya. So at the same time, of course, aside of you, you know, aside of you reading books, other tips or other tools and equipments or devices that you will be using is your computer, TV, or you know, your computer or your TV, where you will be watching movies. Whenever you watch movies, especially English movies, you may able to acquire the letters, the words. So whenever you see those words and how they speak it at the same time, so this is something like dual learning. dual because you learn dual means two. So you will learn how to speak the language because you heard it, you observe it whenever you see it, the movie. At the same time, um, you know what the word is. Kasi may mga context clues. When we say context clues, those are parang dun mo nakikita yung meaning kasi ginamit sa isang pangungusap. Pangungusap sa isang sentences. Sa isang sentences, sa isang sentence doon sa TV or sa computer. Or if you have dictionary, then you can check sa dictionary, ganun-ganun. So yun yung mga equipments kaya. At the same time, of course, sa call center, hindi lang dapat ang magaling mag-chororot, magaling mag-talk, or magaling actively listening. Of course, you have to you need to have like the skill how to type. So dapat marunong ka mag-type or do multitasking. So that is why computer is needed. Sa call center kasi computer ka talaga. Nakaharap ka sa computer, either one computer or dalawang computer. So basically, you know how to type, of course. So kung nagbabalak ka mga ka-Barbie na mag-apply sa isang call center, of course dapat marunong kang mag-type. So dapat i-train mo ang sarili mo mag-type sa keyboard, and of course do multitasking. Like kung ginagawa mo to, kung nagagawa mo to, parang kung ginagawa mo to, you should have to do something then, like do multitasking. Alam niyo naman yung multitasking mga ka-Barbie, ang hirap mag-explain. So, dapat kung anong ginagawa mo dito, dapat ginagawa mo yung isa. Like, while you're listening, you're doing something din. Yun kasi ang isang call center agent. So, kung may request ang customer, whenever you receive customer's concern, acknowledge it. At the same time, you have to type what the customer concern is. Yan. So, dapat marunong ka rin mag-type sa mga typing skills, kung paano yung mga command mga command ng computer, of course. So, dapat marunong ka rin. So, yun yung mga devices and equipments that would really help you mga ka-Barbie kung paano ka rin pumasa. Because this is not just about interview mga ka-Barbie. May mga skills test din ang mga company, ang mga kumpanyang papasukan nyo sa call center. Katulad na lang ng mga kumpanyang aking pinasukan. Hindi lang siya more on speaking. Hindi ka natitest, but more on tinetest ka rin on how you use the computer to type the computer or the typing skills. So that's why at the same time you need to have comprehension mga ka-Barbie. So whenever you receive calls, whenever you receive the questions sa interviewer, you need to understand it because you cannot answer it if you don't understand it. So ayan mga ka-Barbie, so dapat lang tayong makinig. At the same time, you know what, one of the before I let you go mga ka-Barbie, one of the helpful tools as well that really helps me a lot, that really helped me a lot, aside of doing or reading books, watching movies or what stuff, I also watch YouTube. There are a lot of things that you will learn in YouTube, especially for those Americans who will teach you how to speak it or how you answer the questions. That's very, very important, and that's very helpful and essential mga ka-Barbie. Kasi it would really help you how to interact with people. So that's why aside from reading books, watching movies, typing skills, you need to watch YouTube. So ayan, kaya kayo andito sa akin channel kasi nasa YouTube kayo. So ayan. So mga ka-Barbie, yun lang ang mga tips na ibibigay ko sa inyo. At the same time, for my next vlog, ipapaalam ko sa inyo kung ano ang ginagawa ng isang call center agent. So abangan nyo yan kung ano ang mga ginagawa nila sa premises, kung ano ang mga concerns na nare-receive nila every now and then. Every day na nagtitake sila ng mga tawag or calls sa kumpanya. So ayan. So at na naman, kung sino ang hindi pa nakapag-like, comment, or subscribe sa aking YouTube channel, ayan, naman ang inyong Barbie ng bayan na nagsasabing ang buhay ay pretty pretty lang. So, bye-bye na mga ka-Barbie! Thank you for listening.
Gaga pero guwapa.